Welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I'm Lacey, and this is This Other Mess. We're going to do something a little bit different today. I've been telling you guys about a video doing Q&A and kind of a life update video. That's what this is. And I've got Dominic and Jackson in here with me. So sorry if it gets a little rowdy at times. But so I went through every which way possible for there to be a question sent to me. And I got out all of the ones that I was comfortable with answering that you guys have asked at one point or another since I've started doing YouTube. So I've got those here in front of me, right here. And so I'm going to go through them and I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability. And if at any time that you all ever have a question about a question that I've already answered, that's perfectly fine. Don't hesitate to ask. We're all good. So, I am battling a little bit of a cold, and I'm at the end of it, but my voice might get a little raspy at times. You guys can hear me, I'm sure. But it is just a mild cold. So, let's get started with these. Okay, so, how old were you when you had your first kid? You don't look old enough. Well, I want to say thank you. I do feel it, though. I'll start by telling you how old I am. In September of this year, I will be 38 years old. I had my very first child when I was 17. I got pregnant with him when I was 16. I was a senior in high school. And I did graduate. I lived on my own, and I worked a full-time job while going to school full-time. Um, let's see. Joseph Wayne is my oldest son, and he will be 20 years old next month. And he is recently married, and they are expecting a baby, so I will be a grandmother come June, is when the baby's due. And when I was 16 years old, I started dating Joe and Isaiah's dad. My husband that I'm married to now, Josh, you guys know who I'm talking about. He has basically raised Joe and Isaiah. We got together when they were 3 and 4. He's been in their life, though, since they were 2 and 3, because before we started dating, he was my best friend, Josh was, and he used to come around all the time and just play with them. And he would be there when I'd get off work and come home, things like that. So he's actually been in the boys' life since they were 2 and 3, but the boys are also only 15 months apart. Joe was born in 2002. Isaiah was born in 2003. And Joe was 7 months old when I got pregnant with Isaiah. Now, their biological dad, he's really not been in their lives past them being maybe 6 or 7 or 8 at the most. That's Jackson, that noise is. You guys can kind of see him right there playing with a car, so that's what the squeaky, rattly noise is he's playing. Sorry about that. But anyway, back to what I was saying. So it was a very unhealthy relationship. It was physically abusive, and it was just not a good relationship. We were married, and you gonna say hi?
Hi guys.
Come around here. They can't see you.
Listen me that.
Now say hi. There we go. Okay, you can go play now.
And this is my friend Ben. Hello.
Okay, let mommy finish talking to him, okay? So, what was I saying? Oh, so we worked together from the time I was 16 until I was 21. And, Bobby, get your foot down. You're being silly. And, in that time, it just, by the time that we got divorced, my self-esteem was way down here. Jackson, honey, quit putting the toy in front of the camera. Was way down here, and I didn't feel good about myself, and I had just went through abuse for years, and it was just really horrible. So, yeah, so we separated, and we got divorced, and he was in the boys' lives for a few years after that, and then he moved out of state, and I think now the boys talk to him occasionally on the phone and on social media, like Facebook and things like that. But other than that, that's really all. I've not spoken to him in years, so.
I'm hot.
Well, honey, I don't know what to tell you.
Can you turn this off?
Go ahead and turn it off.
What? I'm gonna break the button.
You won't break the button. Turn it the other way.
Oops. Oops.
Okay, just leave it there. I'll fix it in a minute, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, I was 16 when I got pregnant with my first son, and I was 17 when I had him. On to the second question. I'm sorry, you guys. I told you this would be maybe a little chaotic with both of them back here, but they both wanted mommy at the time. And I may have to turn the camera off and change out the battery because my battery is flashing, but we'll go for as long as we can on this one.
Hello.
So, okay. This one is a 3-part question. How long have you been married? My husband and I have been together for this coming September. We'll make 16 years. We've been married this past January, made 10 years that we've been married. How old were you when we got married? Okay, how old I was when we got married, I was, I know that I was 22 when we got together, because we got together shortly after my 22nd birthday. But we got married in 2012, and I'm 37 now, so, uh-oh. Well, Bubby, you're tripping over your little long feet. Okay, so,
Sorry, Mom.
I would have been, I don't know what, 26? What? What you fussing for? So I would have been, I think, 25, 26 maybe, when we got married. And I am 4 years older than Josh. So he would have been, let's see, he just turned 34 back in last month in January. So he would have been, I want to say 30, 21 or 22 when we got married. And that was the third part to that question, was how old was he? Okay, on to the next question. Are you close with your parents? I am close with my mom. My dad passed away this June. Will make 6 years that he's been passed. He passed from lung cancer, and before that he had a severe stroke, and that was really hard. But I was not very close to my dad. Not saying that I didn't see him every day. I seen him daily, and he was very much a part of my life, my children's life. But we did not get along, and when he passed away, my dad was just, to put it plainly and simply, my dad was a very forward man. And a lot of people would get mad. So, and we did not get along on a lot of issues. But I am close with my mother, and I talk to her daily, and I see her at least 3 times a week. And she doesn't live far from me, but we do live in different counties. Next question. Do you have siblings? I do. I have one younger sister. I do have a cousin that my parents raised, and so he was raised as my brother, but he passed away, substance abuse was the cause of that. But I do have one little sister. I'm 5 years older than her, and she has 2 kids, my niece and my nephew. And as a matter of fact, my niece is only 9 months older than Will, my 9-year-old. And we, to be quite honest, we really don't talk. We had a falling out a couple years ago. I think it's been a couple years. We don't live far from each other either. She only lives a mile from my mother. So, but we don't talk. And we used to be really close, very close growing up. But I guess as you get older and you get your own viewpoints on things, and you become different people and live different lives and see things in different ways, you have different ways of doing things and seeing things, and a lot of people may not agree with that. And for my sister and I, that's us, I suppose. So, what's the worst your kids have ever scared you? Oh, mercy. My oldest son, Joseph, he hid one time in a little zipper side pocket that he was actually able to fit in of a tent that was set up in my parents' side yard. And I used to live right next door to my parents, and my sister came over and she said, Lacey, Joe will not get out of the tent and come in the house. And so I said, okay, I'm coming. By the time I had got over there to get Joe, he had already zipped himself up inside this little corner zipper pocket. And it's like 100 degrees outside. Nobody can find him. He's not answering us. We're looking everywhere. We're looking all up and down the yard. There is a 40-foot bluff in the very back of my parents' yard. We was looking down it. We was looking across the road. We was looking in the ditch. I mean, it had got to the point where I was almost ready to call 911 because it had scared me that bad. I couldn't find my child, and he was only like 2 years old. And finally, I said something, and he finally, I heard him reply back to me. And I said, Joe, honey, Mommy still say something again. Mommy still don't know where you're at. And we finally found him. And when we found him, he was pouring sweat, scared me to pieces. I was just so thankful that we had found him. I mean, it was horrible. My second oldest, he had actually was playing with a friend of mine, one of her little girls, at the grandparents' house, and the little girl had actually hit him in the temple with a golf club. That scared me pretty bad with him. Will, my third oldest, my 9-year-old, he was about 3 or 4. I want to say he was about 3 or 4. And we used to have an American Bulldog, full-blooded. His name was Achilles. He was an amazing dog. And he would not have hurt a flea, a fly. I'm sorry, the baby loves watching himself in the camera. sorry about that, you guys. But hopefully you guys find it cute like I do. If not, I'm sorry. But anyway, we had this old time handheld can opener. I'm sure most of you all know what I'm talking about. And he would play with it. It was dull. It was bent. It was just for show was all it was. And he was playing with it. And Josh and I were sitting on the couch watching a movie. And the next thing I know, I'm sorry, Dominic's hitting the camera now. But the next thing I know, I'm hearing Achilles like make a irk sound with a mix of a growl, but not really. I don't know how to explain that. And then Will start crying. And when I got up and pulled him up, we thought that Achilles had bit him because he had blood all over his face. And that also reminds me of another time my oldest son scared me. I'll tell you guys about that in a minute. But Achilles had not actually bit him. What he had done was he had opened his mouth and jerked his head, and his teeth had grazed him. But still yet, it had scared me so bad that we found a good home for him. Someone that had been around him and things. And we gave him away because of that. Because my children come first. I don't care what it is, who it is. My children come first, and all I know is that the dog had hurt my child, even though I know that the dog would have never hurt a flea. But and he was so protective over the kids. But still yet, that's not the way I've seen it as a mother. So, but another time my oldest son scared me. He has scared me quite a bit. He's the one that looks just like me. If you put a red wig on him, he would be me. But anyway, so it was 2 weeks after his 5th birthday, so he was 5 years old, and I had the day off work. I worked in a daycare center at the time, and I was sitting at my parents' computer table that they had at the time in their living room, and Joe had a bad habit of jumping on a bed or on a couch, or just he loved to jump on furniture, and it took me forever to get him broke from that, even after this incident happened. But I had just got done telling him, Joe, quit jumping. You're going to fall and you're going to get hurt. And I just turned like that right there away from him, just, a little bit. Next thing I know, boom, I hear glass. My mom had these clear glass saucers, and there was one on the table that he had been eating his sandwich off of. And I jump up and I grab him up really quick, and he had blood everywhere. I mean, Lord, my heart still goes numb thinking about that. It scared me so bad. But he had actually ended up having to have 10 stitches in 5 different spots on his face. He gashed his eyeball. I had to take him to the optometrist. We had to do eye drops for 2 months. And he had to have the skin pulled back over the bone right here on his nose. He's got scars here and right up underneath of his eye right there. I mean, he got so lucky. And I took medical training and emergency procedures specialty classes in high school, so I knew to get the bleeding to stop if possible. So without making anything worse, I glanced him over to make sure there was no glass still sticking, in him. And at this time, my mom had already brought me a towel and was on the phone with 911 trying to get an ambulance to us because my husband had took our vehicle to work that morning. So my mom and I were there, and my dad had actually took their vehicle to work. They had 2 vehicles, but one of them was down at the time. My dad was replacing, I don't know, something. And So by the time the ambulance got there to get us, I'd gotten the bleeding to stop and made sure that there was no glass in his face. And I'm telling you, by the time that it was said and done, are you wanting in that? Okay. Hop up. Okay, well, we'll get it. Come here. Hop up so we don't get you on that again. Told you guys it might be a little crazy, but this is real life for me. This is mom life. This is how it always is if I'm not up cleaning or something. The baby's attached to me all the time, and Jackson's right at my hip. So, Will, thankfully, he's 9 years old, and he's pretty good about keeping himself entertained. Back to what I was saying. By the time it was all said and done, and Joe had 10 stitches in 5 different spots, and we had an appointment for the optometrist the very next day. I had to hold him down, wrap him in a sheet to hold him down, and they had gave him 6 shots to calm him down and to numb him, I believe it was, and or it may have been to put him to sleep so that they could do the stitching without having to hold him down. I can't remember. We're talking 15 years ago here, so oh well, yeah, about 15 years ago, I guess. And on our way home, he actually got sick. We had to stop the car and let him get sick because of as many shots as they gave him. But that was that. So I've got 2 really bad times that my oldest scared me. With Jackson, he fell one time and hit his head really hard. And the way that the knot came up was just so unnatural. Okay, you're pulling mommy over. That really scared me, and so, of course, the doctor was contacted. So, and with Dominic, so far, other than just a few, falls and bumps, knock on wood, I hope to keep it just as that, but, so that's that question. The worst my kids have ever scared me. Okay, what kind of childhood did you have? I don't like to talk about my childhood a whole lot because I've got very mixed emotions about my childhood. My mom was a great mom. She was a real hands-on mom. And a very loving mom. My dad, I love my dad, and I don't want to speak in any bad terms because he is deceased. My dad was not the greatest dad ever. I grew up in and around the biker scene. My dad was a biker my whole entire life. He had a bike all the way up until he passed away. And I'm talking the whole leather jackets and motorcycle clubs and, the parties and everything that goes along with that. So, yeah, I had a loving mother, but a rough childhood. So, what real life issues have you had to go through? Well, I guess I've hit the statistic criteria in so many areas. Let's see, rough upbringing around roughnecks, rednecks, and bikers. Pregnancy at 16. I moved out when I was 16 of my parents' house. I did graduate, like I said. I lived on my own. I took care of the baby. My battery's getting ready to die, and I'm going to see what the baby's going to be playing with back here, and I'll get right back to this question. Let me change this battery. Okay, see there, I wasn't gone, but just for a second, a blink of an eye. The baby decided that he was tired of sitting back here with mommy, so He's in there watching cartoons with Daddy for a minute. Okay, back to what I was saying. What real life issues have you had to go through? So, yeah, pregnancy at 16. I moved out when I was 16, went to school full time, worked a full time job. I think for the first year, um, between being 6 months pregnant and right after I had my oldest son, I think I might have gotten 3 hours of sleep a night. But my oldest son was 4 days away from being 2 months old when I graduated, and I graduated in 2002. May of 2002, and he was born March 2002. So I've also dealt with losing a best friend. He was my best friend from the time that I was 11 years old until he passed away a few years ago. When we were 16, he got into a bad wreck, and he ended up in a wheelchair, and then he lived through that and then passed away in a house fire. His birthday was just recent. He would have been 38 back in January, and I've also lost a parent, lost in-laws, I lost a child, and that was the most recent. Actually, I think that there's a question about that on in here. I'll wait till we get to that question before I go into that. But you know, like anybody else, I'm just like anybody else. I have issues that I've had to overcome and obstacles I've had to overcome, and you know, I've been a statistic, and I've went through my kinds of trials and tribulations. I'm just like everybody else. Nothing has ever been easy for me. I've always had to work for what I've wanted, or for what I've had, or for what I've got. And that's you goofy. That's what's made me the kind of person I am today. That's what makes me work so hard at trying to be the best mom that I can, and the best wife that I can, and the best friend that I can, and the best daughter that I can be. And I think, you know, anybody that does have to go through certain types of hardships, it does make you into that much more of a different but stronger person, you know. Because there's a lot of people out here that do have hardships, but doesn't really ever see anything as hard as, you know, losing a best friend like that, or losing a child, or, and I hope that nobody does. I know that's an impossible hope, but, you know, I do wish that nobody would have to go through that kind of thing, and but it does happen, and you just never know. You never really know who it's happened to, because it's not just as easy as pointing somebody out in the crowd and saying, well, that one's, you know, lost a best friend, and that one's lost a child, and that one's lost a parent. And, you know, you can't just look at somebody and tell what kind of hardships they've went through. It could be the person standing next to you in the grocery line, you know, and having the worst day ever, and just got some really bad news, and you smile at them is what made their whole day just go better. So, you know, it's never just as easy as being able to say, yeah, I went through a hardship and I'm just like you. It doesn't work that way. What baby?
Happy.
My baby. Are your parents still married? My parents were married all the way up until my dad passed away. He passed away in 2016. My parents were married in 1983. And they would most certainly still be married to this day if my dad was still alive. What's some mom-to-mom advice you give?
Oh, bless it.
There was a little woman that told my mom one time that this little sentence here, and my mom was big time on giving that advice, and I think that it's wonderful advice, that no matter what is going on or how messy something is, you have to let the children play.
Okay.
And okay, yeah. And my mom said that
I tuned it.
you have to be a mom to understand what that means. And I wholeheartily agree with that. But I've actually told people the story of my mom being told that by a little lady a long time ago when I was very little. And honey, hold on a minute. And so yeah, that's a piece of advice I would give to another mom. You have to let the children play, even if it's raining out and you're having the worst day and the house is a wreck and the dishes need to be washed and laundry needs to be folded. When it comes down to it, you have to let the children play, because when they're playing and you're watching, you can't help but smile. I know I do. Oh,
Okay.
I told you to quit rolling around on the bed. I know you guys had to see that. I've told him to stop rolling around on the bed. Come here.
Okay.
You are very hard-headed when it comes to listening. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you need mommy to kiss it away?
I'm using this so I can...
No, we're not pulling that desk out right now.
I'm using it
No, we're not using it.
right over there.
No, that's just one more thing to be in the way for you to fall over. No. No.
My laptop on there.
Bet your laptop's not in here.
Yes, it is.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Mommy did not see that. All right, can you get it?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Can you help?
Mama.
Help me, Mom.
Help you put it down before you fall and get your toes.
Can you help me?
I'm coming to help.
Thank you, Mom.
You're welcome, baby.
I'm going to get my laptop.
You are so silly. Do you know that?
Put that right here.
Put it right here. How's that?
But
Better? Okay.
what's making my laptop?
Well, you've got your laptop.
I got it right now.
Okay. Mommy, get out of your way. Okay. Sorry about that, you guys. I had to get the little computer desk out for him. Okay, so, let's see. Another piece of advice I would give would be, don't turn it up too loud, baby. Turn it back down. Jackson, turn it back down. You know Mommy's trying to film. I can't really think of anything other than my motto. My motto always said, no matter how bad it gets or how bad it is, it could always be worse. Be grateful. I'm grateful every day, and I try to make sure that I say a little thank you to show that I'm grateful. Alright, next question. How did you find out about the MS? The MS, for those of you that don't know, I have MS or multiple sclerosis, and the way I found out was one morning I had got up and was drinking my coffee and my foot had fell asleep, I thought. And I kept trying to get the feeling to come back into my foot, and it wouldn't come back into my foot no matter how much I moved it around things. And so it eventually moved from the numbness in my foot up my leg, and then my knee started to go. It went from my right leg, the numbness did it, moved up it to my left leg. And when it got my left leg is when my knee started to go and I started to walk with a limp. I do have a wheelchair and I do use my wheelchair when I absolutely have to. Because there's mornings that I get up and I can't get up out of the bed very easily. Um, and most of the time I do walk with a cane. Um, Around the house, I'm okay to walk without my cane and things, but and it even spread up to my hands for a while. But I did eventually get feeling back in my hands. Um, but yeah, I've done all of the brain MRIs, the uh, what's it called? It's where they go into your spinal fluid. For the life of me, I cannot remember what it's called. But I've done all the testing and all that, and it's been quite hard on me, especially there at first, because I ran track in high school, and I used to be able to run and jump and play, and just do all the things with my kids. My oldest three, my oldest three boys, and it makes me feel bad sometimes that my younger ones aren't able to have mommy go out and run and jump and play with them like I was able to with the older ones. Will, my 9-year-old, he was right at about 3 or 4 when my knee started to completely go. And now it's just my whole entire leg. And my knee's just what bothers me the most, and it's what swells up. But my whole entire leg from right below the hip down, just. But I have feeling in that leg to an extent. And in my right leg, I can fully use my right leg, but I have no feeling in it. I've actually got a third-degree burn on the side of my leg because of the no feeling. Whenever it first happened, it was really hard for me to deal with, really hard for me to get used to. And then as the years have gone by and time has progressed, of course, it's not just that. There's other issues that I deal with because of the MS, but it's not anything that I'm not dealing with. But yeah, I do my doctor appointments as I should and things like that. And I'm hoping that eventually there's no way to reverse it. It is progressive multiple sclerosis, and I can't remember the stage and all that right off the top of right off the top of my head. But I do have what's called partial seizures at times. I've had a couple of seizures that were full-blown seizures. The worst one was whenever I went to have my first brain MRI, and they did it with and without contrast, which if you don't know, that means that they'll do the scan without a dye ran through you, and then they'll do one with a dye ran through you. And it was when I had the dye injected that it put me into a seizure. I busted everything on the head covering, face covering, whatever it is in the machine. And so yeah, I walked around looking horrible for like 2 weeks until everything healed up. But But yeah, it all because of, and I thought that it might have been a pinched nerve is what happened. And it would all go away or fix itself on its own. Nope. Okay, what's changed since you've had MS? Have you always had the limp? Okay, I think I just pretty much kind of answered that. I used to be able to run and jump. I used to run track in high school. I used to jump hurdles actually um, in high school, and can't do any of that now. Um, I'm not able to play with my kids, or I mean, I'm able to do normal day-to-day function, of course. I mean, you guys watch my videos, you all see I'm able to clean things, but I'm a lot slower at it than I used to be. Um, and there's days that my hips or my knee or my back will hurt me so bad that it's one of two things. It's either all I can do to move, or I don't have a choice but to get up and move to kind of try to ease the pressure and the pain of it. So, you know. And no, I've not always had the limp. The limp didn't happen until the numbness started to move through my extremities. What's your best thing about being a mom? Being a mom. I mean, I've not always been able to be a stay-at-home mom, and so I know what it's like to be out in the workforce and things. But I think that being a mom, just in itself, is its own reward, it's its own joy, and it is a full-time job. Um, and I've always loved kids since I was a kid. I can remember being 12, 13 years old, babysitting, for the neighbors or my parents' friends and things like that. Just, I love kids. I always have. I don't think that there's no more pure form of innocence and fun and just all around greatness than a kid. I mean, just, and I love my children so much, and and now I've got a grandchild coming, and I'm over the moon about it. I was at first, heartbroken, of course. I mean, I'm only 37 years old, and then I got thinking, duh, I made my mother and grandmother at 37 years old. Um, and I know I don't look like a grandmother yet, or at least I certainly hope I don't. But that all of that went through my head at first, and now I'm just like over the moon and can't wait. So, um, what's your best thing about being a wife? That having that somebody that you know that's there on your side, that's doing this with you. That and as you guys know, we did separate for about 7 months, and it was not easy, but it was not something that I was not able to push through. I have children; they come first. They have needs; that comes first, and so um, there. Don't do that, baby. Don't do that. Leave it alone. Leave it alone, please. Jackson, leave it alone, please. Um, and even though we were having issues, I knew that when it come to being a dad, I knew that I could count on him, and that's what mattered at that time. What's your best thing about being a homemaker? Um, well, I love to clean, and I love to design and style and, you know, put things together that looks good and try different looks. And I finally have found the look that I like. I like the farmhouse look, the rustic, the country look. Um, that's the look that feels the most homey and the most cozy for me. I love it. I do like the looks of like the glamorous or um, I even like a little bit of like boho, but when it comes right down to it, I'm more of a farmhouse with a little bit of cottage thrown in there. Even a little touch of modern farmhouse in there, but I really like the rustic, country, um, farmhouse, simplicity look. And I think that, um, being a homemaker, you're not just a homemaker. There's so many ways to explore being a homemaker. I mean, you get to be cook, designer, um, stylist, you know. I mean, all of that. You get to do all of that at just being a homemaker. So, you said that you and your hubby got along great and co-parented great while separated. So, how did you decide to work it out? Well, we both have, we're alike as much as we are different. And I do think that we are soulmates. I didn't actually believe in soulmates. Well, like I said at the beginning of the video, my first marriage was really, really bad. It was abusive and things. So the only true love that I believed in was the love between a parent and a child. And so I didn't believe in soulmates. I didn't believe in true love between a man and a woman, or whatever you may prefer. I did not believe in that. I believed that you could only love so deep. But then I got with Josh, and I do believe that there is such thing as true love and things of that nature. But it was differences that we were having, and it wasn't about two or three different kinds of issues. It was, just a couple of main issues we were butting heads over. And so it was better for our home so that we wasn't sitting arguing over this for us to separate at that time. And once we seen that it was not the way that we needed to run our home, even though we still was co-parenting great, and he was still, a great dad and being right there and hands on it. Right here if I needed him for whatever it may have been. We knew that it was just not working. Way more us being apart than us being together. So that's what ultimately led to us sitting down one evening after we got Head coming by to help me get the kids do their bedtime routine, a little bit before Christmas actually, and him and I had sat down over a cup of coffee and was talking, and we just had a talk that we should have had anyway, but because all cards were on the table and because we were already expecting to divorce, we just went ahead and there was no holds barred, so we just let it all out. And finally done what we should have done to begin with, and for some reason the both of us were too afraid to face the issues and push them to each other. And I don't know why, but it was just the last, I'm going to say since 2020 had been very rough for us. But I think 2020 was really bad for everybody. So what's the deal with the age gap between your boys? Okay. So the oldest two were only 15 months apart, but there's 9 and 10 years difference between the oldest two and the third son. And then there's a 4-year difference between the third and the fourth, but yet a 14 and 15-year difference between the oldest two and the fourth. And then there's a 17 and 18-year difference between the oldest two and the youngest. Um, and that's just because I was married previously and had no intentions of ever getting married again, um, or having any more kids after Isaiah, my 18-year-old, was born. And then Josh and I, we got together in 2006. We got married in 2012. And as soon as we got married, I got pregnant with Wilder, um, which is Will's real name, by the way. Wilder is Will's real name. And we decided we wanted a couple more after that because my other ones were already, they were getting bigger, and I didn't have babies at home anymore, and I love kids, and so I was like, I want to have more kids. So we did. What was your occupation before YouTube? Well, I was a sales associate for a very big high-end store. I'll not name the store or anything. It is no longer in business here in my area. But when you go 2 counties away to like Lexington, Kentucky, there's a bunch of the stores. And I used to be a sales associate for there. What's your favorite cleaning product and item? My favorite cleaning product would have to be my Mrs. Meyer's multi-surface cleaner. I love that stuff. I don't care. There's, I like the scent penny, but of all the cleaners that I use, it would have to be and my Jaws cleaners. Now I do love my Jaws cleaners, but I'd have to say that those two are tied: Mrs. Meyer's multi-surface and all the Jaws cleaners. My favorite item is my Eureka Rapid Clean Pro cordless vacuum. That and my old cedar spin mop. Those two are tied as well. Those are my favorite 2 items. Okay. Sorry about that. I had to move the camera around because the kids kept running through here, so I had to stop filming for a second and move the camera. So I feel like I'm a little bit lopsided. So I'm just going to lean over here on my bench. Okay, so we've got 2 questions left. Let's run through them real quick. Let's see. You said you've had 6 kids. What happened? I do have 6 kids. They were all boys, or they've all been boys. I have had 6 children. I've had 6 pregnancies. Gave birth 6 times. I do have 6 kids. Where my 6th child is at. In the year 2020, in January, I gave birth to Dominic. 1 month later, no, 3 months later, it was 3 months later, I got pregnant again. And that baby was due in February of 2021. And when I was 22 weeks, my water broke here at home. And we thought that we didn't know that it was no water. We thought that maybe I'd had an infection or something because I had been battling a UTI, and I do with every pregnancy. So we went on to the hospital, and the doctor sure enough comes in and tells me that my water had broke. And so I asked, and he was not the baby doctor that I normally seen. We wasn't able to make it to the hospital that I was actually supposed to deliver at, which is 2 counties away. We only ended up making it to the hospital 1 county away because the county we live in doesn't have a hospital. So the baby doctor that delivered my oldest two, well, my oldest three, was who seen me at the hospital. And it was on Will's birthday in September when my water broke and we went to the hospital. The doctor who came to see me that delivered my oldest three has known me for 20 years. And so I looked at him and I said, tell me the truth. Is the baby gonna... And he said no. And I lost it. And then the other doctor that came in, that is in partner with him in his office, really made me mad. She came in and started telling me that he was going to be able to survive. And I straight told her, I said, don't give me false hope. The doctor came in and told me, don't sit here and give me false hope. She was like, no, everything's going to be okay. We're going to keep you here, keep him in there for 1 week, and then we're going to send you to UK Hospital, which is in Lexington, Kentucky, University of Kentucky, and then they can let the baby be delivered. So, none of that happened. 2 days later, I gave birth, and that morning at 4 o'clock, a little before 4 o'clock, I gave birth, and he passed after an hour, and I'm sorry. And so instead of bringing home a baby, and I had to plan a funeral, I do have a picture of him. That's what the 6 picture frames are in my living room on the wall. I have a picture of each one of my boys hanging. I've got the 3 oldest on this side, 3 youngest on this side, and there's a little wooden piece. If I don't forget, after I finish filming this, I'll go in there and film it, show you guys. So anyway, his name was Wyatt Martin, and he lived for 1 hour. And so we do fully celebrate Will's birthday on his birthday, which is the day that I went to the hospital. That was the day that my water broke. And then Wyatt was born 2 days later, and we do something for him this past year. He would have been 1, and I let a balloon go for him. They actually messed up the tombstone, put the wrong date on it, And so for like the last um, year and a half, we've been trying to get them to go and fix it because I didn't sign off on it. They were told the dates 4 times. When the final picture was sent to me, I even told them, look, the date is not correct. And so it looks like they're not going to go fix it. And here, it's been almost 2 years. So we're going to have to go and have his tombstone, the dates. Um, I don't know how they do it exactly. I know it's something with sandblasting. But they're going to have to sandblast that off and then re-engrave it because they've got the date 5 days before I even went in the hospital. Totally wrong. So anyway, what aggravates me the most about that is when Jackson was born.
Oh no.
He was born at 25 weeks. And yeah, we lived at NICU, at UK Hospital for 3 months, my husband and I did. They did say that was due to a UTI that I knew about. I didn't know about that specific one, but I knew that I kept them while I was pregnant. I always have. I've always had to take antibiotics. But the doctor didn't test me for some reason with Jackson. And so the UTI ended up sending me into full-blown labor, water breaks at home. I actually ended up hemorrhaging, and it was so bad, in fact, that if I had lost much more blood, then I would have had to have a transfusion, and thankfully that didn't happen. But when he was born, he had to be took to UK Hospital in the NICU. All right, go on.
Come on.
And you see him now.
Come on, Eddie. Come on.
You see him now, and that's at 25 weeks. And Wyatt was born at 22 weeks.
I just told him to kill somebody.
Oh, it's fun.
We're out.
Okay. So that's what aggravates me the most about that. But yeah, in 2020, it was a really, really rough year. I gave birth twice that year and lost my very babyest. So, yes. That's what happens and why I say I've got 6 kids. Because I do. But I've only got to mother 5. Last question, you guys. The way you clean reminds me of someone with OCD. Have you ever been diagnosed? I have been, actually. Yes, I am medically diagnosed. OCD. I cannot help it. If I see something that is out of place, it drives me crazy till it gets put back in its place. And if I see something that needs to be cleaned, it needs to be cleaned. That's just me. But, so anyway, I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. As for life updates, I don't really have much of a life update. We are talking about possibly moving. If it's something we decide on, I'll go into more detail about it. I don't necessarily want to move, but it's something that we may not have an option. So, but I'll let you guys know more about that if it happens. Other than that, I'm going to try to get back on schedule with getting videos out to you guys. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that you all feel like you've gotten to know me a little bit better and who I am. Other than that, I know that you didn't get too much motivated, but I hope that you enjoyed the little chit-chat we had and everything. And The next video that comes out should be the deep clean in the kitchen because of the new refrigerator. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. So, yeah. I think that's got it till next time. Love y'all. Stay safe.